I've been a train engineer for nearly 15 years. People think it's a simple job. Sit in a cab, follow the rails, keep things steady. But when you're alone at night, steering thousands of tons of steel through the darkness, you start to realize how alive the rails feel. They hum. They whisper. Sometimes they even warn you. Last year, I learned that the hard way. It was late autumn, cold air rolling across the plains of Texas. I'd been assigned a delivery of steel beams and bridge parts, headed for a new construction site outside Tulsa, Oklahoma. Routine stuff. Long haul. 10 hours on the track. My co-pilot that night was Mason, a rookie but sharp guy. He was on his second month of freight duty, still amazed by everything. He asked me if the rumors were true. About Track 47. I laughed. Yeah, the one that's supposed to be cursed? Don't worry, kid, it's just old railway talk. Every route's got its ghost story. Still, when the dispatcher said we'd have to cross that exact section due to a reroute, I felt something twist in my stomach. The night started normally. Stars above, radio chatter, smooth ride. But about 2 hours in, Mason leaned forward. Eli, why's the brake pressure dropping? I checked the gauges. They were flickering like they were losing signal. I tapped the panel, and the lights stabilized. Probably just a sensor glitch, I said. But deep down, I didn't believe it. A few minutes later, the train accelerated on its own. Throttle at idle. No control response. The engine roared louder and louder. We were hitting 80 miles per hour, then 90. I tried the emergency brake. Nothing. That's when the radio crackled. But it wasn't dispatch. A distorted voice whispered, "Track 47 is waiting." Eli Mason froze. What the hell was that? We radioed central control, but all we got was static. Then, through the fog ahead, we saw lights. An old signal post glowing red, but half broken. According to the map, that post hadn't been active in decades. Yet it was there, blinking faintly like it was calling us forward. The air felt electric. The cabin smelled like burnt metal. Then Mason screamed, "There's a train ahead!" I looked, and sure enough, an old freight locomotive appeared on the same track, completely still, rusted, like something from the 1950s. But as we got closer, it vanished into thin air. The only thing left was the echo of its horn, deep and mournful. I started shaking. Years ago, on this same route, there'd been a derailment, an entire crew killed when a runaway train lost its brakes and collided with another on Track 47. My father was on that train. I joined the railroad years later, trying to make peace with that legacy, and now it felt like history was repeating itself. The radio flickered again. "You shouldn't have come back, Eli." Mason grabbed my arm. "Eli, who's saying that?" But I didn't have an answer. I pulled open the fuse panel, hoping to cut power manually, but instead found a charred circuit board, half melted. And on it, in marker, someone had written, 47 do not route. Mason started panicking. The speedometer hit 105 miles per hour. Bridges and crossings blurred past in streaks of light. Suddenly, the dispatch radio cut in. A real voice this time. "Engine 932, you're off grid. You're headed straight for an unfinished bridge near Red Creek. You need to stop NOW." My hands were trembling. We had maybe 5 minutes before impact. I had one shot. There was an emergency junction switch up ahead, a side track that led into an abandoned quarry. If I could hit the manual lever before the bridge, maybe we'd survive. But Mason hesitated. "Eli, if we take that track, the cargo will derail. We'll lose everything." I looked him dead in the eye. I'd rather lose steel than lives. I told him to hold tight. At the last second, I jumped out of the cab, sprinted along the side ladder, and yanked the manual switch lever just as we passed. The train screamed as it veered onto the quarry line. Metal tearing, cars tipping, sparks flying everywhere. The last thing I saw before blacking out was the reflection of that old phantom train on the horizon, heading straight into the night. When I woke up, paramedics were pulling me from the wreck. Mason was alive, thank God. They said the main bridge had indeed collapsed that night, just minutes after we diverted. If we hadn't switched tracks, everyone on board would have died. The investigation found no evidence of malfunction, no data logs, no record of acceleration. as if the train had never lost control at all. But when I went back weeks later, I found something half buried in the gravel, a piece of twisted steel with numbers engraved. Train 47. The same number from my father's crash. People ask me if I still drive trains after that night. Yeah, I do. But every time I hear the rails hum beneath me, I listen a little closer. Because sometimes, I swear, I can still hear my father's voice in the static, telling me to keep going, to finish the ride he never could.